Excellence in the workplace drives both operational success and personal growth in mining. Today's guest is a seasoned mining professional named among the 100 global inspirational women in science and recognized as a rising star, and will share insights on fostering workplace excellence. Mogaleadi Seabela is a trailblazer in the mining industry whose expertise and leadership continue to shape the future of our sector. As Global CPM Application Manager, she brings deep technical knowledge and strategic vision to her role. Her exceptional contributions have earned her recognition among the 100 global inspirational women in mining, and she was honored as Standard Bank's top woman in science and a rising star. Currently serving as Vice Chairperson of Women in Mining South Africa, Mogaleadi is not only a seasoned mining professional, but also a passionate advocate for diversity and inclusion in our industry. Today, we explore her journey, expertise, and vision for the future of mining as we dive into a conversation about workplace excellence. Mogaleadi, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Matlawanala. I'm happy to be here.
Sure. Look, mining was not exactly an industry that attracts a lot of women, particularly for somebody who's not even from a mine town. Maybe talk to us about your personal background, your upbringing, and really how you made the call to enter this industry.
Thanks, Matlawanala, for the question. I grew up in Ramutiba, Wanamago, and it's a small village outside Polokwane where you really never heard of mining.
Sure.
And it's only up until when I was in high school that I heard about careers in mining. And one time I was washing my uncle's car and I came across a pamphlet with mining careers. And for the first time, I heard about mining, geology, metallurgy, and how they were also they were very male dominated. And I thought, this is the industry I'm going to go into. And I mean, coming from a background where my biggest dream was becoming a doctor.
Yes, that's all of us.
I had to really now rethink. But I fell in love the moment I saw that pamphlet and the way they outlined what the career is about and the fact that they were really trying to attract women into the industry.
Sure. Look, for most parts of your career, you were in leadership positions. And of course, you started from the bottom, you went up, but you did a lot of work with contracting mining. And I know a lot of people desire to offer services into mining space. Maybe talk to us from your experience, the performance of contractors, what they are doing right that retains them, and something you would caution people who are contractors not to do.
Yeah, and I first want to just outline what contractors are in mining and what differentiates them. So, you know, in mining, we are governed by the Mine Health and Safety Act in terms of regulation, and it really does not recognize contractors. So an employee is an employee. The moment you clock in, you are a mining employee. But the way we are structured as organizations in the industry, you find that there's different organizations that we call them service providers, service partners that come in to do work. And in my experience, I've managed contractors that would come in to do your drilling and blasting, explosive supply, loading and hauling services. And the only difference really there in terms of how they do work is who pays them and who gives them a contract, an employment contract. But basically the way they have to operate and the way we are regulated, they need to operate as mine employees. And in my experience, there's a lot of opportunity for us to improve as an industry in how we manage contractors. And I've seen really great contractors, and most of them come in as subject matter experts or OEMs. I mean, if you think about explosives, it's a whole big industry on its own. And when they come into the industry now in mining, the expectation is that they bring their, expertise in managing safety around explosives and ensuring that we blast well and we drive efficiency. Same with other service providers in other spaces around loading and hauling. We want them to mine efficiently, safely. And some of the success stories that I've seen and factors in different contractors is just having their own safety standards. And I've had the pleasure of working with some of the best, where even when I have a DMR visit, I'd say, I invite you to my area, because I know they really take care of their people. And it all starts there. When a contractor takes good care of their people, the people take care of that business. And the mining organization as a client benefits from that. And some of the things that I think contractors shouldn't really be doing is not taking care of their people. The level of negligence we've seen in some of the contractors, and unfortunately those businesses don't last long, because as a business owner, you're not going to report to the mine every day, but you want your operator to be dressed well in the right PPE, motivated to perform, because that's your, they are representing your company. So it's really in your best interest as a business owner interested in going into mining, contracting, that you take care of people, their livelihood, you make sure they live in decent areas, so that they can also easily comply to the mining standards that mining organizations have.
Sure. Look, Mogaleadi, when somebody looks at your profile, there is proper shoots of excellence.
Thanks.
No, I promise you. And it's almost like every area you step into, you stand out. Where does that come from?
So I'm the firstborn girl child. And with that comes a lot of great expectations. My mother is also a firstborn girl child. And growing up, you are expected to just do things well. And that I grew up with that. Unfortunately, it turns you into a perfectionist, and the world is not perfect. And as you grow older, you need to balance out, delivering with excellence and delivering at all. Because what I've had to learn is my perfectionism has in some instances held me back. And I'm learning to really balance it. I usually call myself a recovering perfectionist, because it doesn't always work. If you want to deliver, yes, I want excellence. And everyone who's worked with me will know that I strive for that. I hold myself to very high standards, but it puts me under pressure. But I've had to just understand that in some instances I need to be more, understanding of other people. So not everyone is driven the same way, but still be able to influence them to deliver if we are focusing on really getting to delivery. And most of the time, if you are not delivering, then there's no excellence to recognize.
Look, let's touch on these things, right? You were recognized as one of the 100 global inspirational women in mining. You were named the Rising Star, and I remember years ago you were invited to speak in Dubai. I've been, you're speaking in Dubai. You are serving in your community. You are a mentor. You do so much, and of course the work has been recognized. So much to be proud of. Maybe talk to us about how those accolades make you feel.
They make me feel seen. And they also they encourage me to keep doing what I do and more. So I love the fact that these accolades are usually just a recognition of the work I do. And when I get it, I'm like, so people are looking. And even though I don't set myself out to do it for that, when they do come, I really, really welcome them. And it's like fuel to my fire. Look, the workplace is quite different from your academics, because the academic part, you can control excellence. That area is fairly regulated, but the workplace has got so many diverse things. It depends who you work for, the environment you work in. Maybe just talk to us about how you manage to stand out even amongst these diverse variables. Sometimes you're in a workplace, you did close to nothing and somehow you're not liked, a small just
thing,
by showing up.
And a small thing can be very career limiting. But how did you manage to stand out even within these variables?
And I'm happy you could recognize that, because I've had the pleasure of working for different organizations, multinationals, multi-commodity, and also smaller mining organizations. And I've seen how you have to really charter your own path in these organizations. So in a small mine, what I've had to learn is you really can, the sky's the limit for you. There's no one who's going to say, no, you can't come into this space because it's not yours, it belongs to someone else. And I used that opportunity to really expose myself to the mining business, where today I could be reporting in the technical field and learning. And tomorrow I decide I want to go to the plant to see what's happening in the plant. And there's that opportunity and allowance. And working for bigger organizations with what we call more structure, you don't go into other people's businesses. But how I've worked around that level of diversity is always being driven by learning. I learn. I take up stuff. When you tell me about something, I just want to know more. I go home and just find out more. When I spend time with a metallurgist in the plant, I really just want to understand, as my client, how do I serve them better? As a miner, I mean, if they're telling me that my ROM is too big or too small, they're battling with fines or big rocks in the crusher, I really need to use that to improve my area. And that's how I've been working with, in terms of technical diversity in my career. And in terms of more human diversity, it starts with self-mastery and self-knowledge. And I'm not saying I've mastered who I am, but the best thing I've had to do for myself is to firstly understand who I am. Accept things that I get to realize about me, understand how I interact with people who are not like me, and how I should use, my difference in that scenario to my best benefit, and also influencing spaces. As you know, in the work we do, it's very male dominated. As a woman in mining, you have the duty to influence. And in my personal experience, the biggest influence has just been in delivering. If I do my job, then the woman in mining thing is out of the question. We don't have to prove anything. I'm delivering. I'm doing what I have to do.
And you can't dispute that.
Nothing.
You can't dispute results.
Yeah. No one can argue about tons on the belt. If they are there, they are there.
Yeah.
But and one thing I've also always strived towards is understanding that how I show up is used to measure other Black women and other professional women, and I need to just be conscious of those engagements and how I show up as me.
Yes. Look, consistency compounds. I mean, you do good work, it will be recognized one way or another, now or then. Yes.
Yeah.
But how do you, and I want you to speak to some people where, how do you continue to do your best and show up and excel, even when you're not recognized, even when you're not compensated, even when the environment does not speak to your efforts? How do you navigate the hard parts?
And I'm going to add to say, even when you get demoted. Something I have experienced personally. It hurts. And I think the how depends on who you are and how far you've met yourself and gotten to know yourself. In my case, it was a very difficult journey where it broke me before I could rebuild myself. And in hindsight, some of the things that helped me survive was just using the people who cared about me. Understanding that my life is far bigger than just my job. Leaning on to the support I had outside work. And also having accountability partners. The reality is sometimes when we think we are doing good work, we may not be doing good work. It's great, but that's not what they are looking for. So talk to people, just help them understand how you are showing up. Is it really meeting the expectation? But at the bottom of it all, always show up, no matter how hard it is. If you have to cry before you go, just do it. I'm so happy that even during the toughest times of my career, I still went to work. I remember, it would cross my mind, say, I could book off sick and just stay at home. But that's not what was, driving me at the time. I just felt I needed to just do more. But I wouldn't lie to anyone and say it's easy. But you just have to keep reminding yourself on why you started. Why you are doing what you do, and understand that everything does come to an end. even bad experiences do.
Sure, and maybe just to touch on that, Mogaleadi, because for some people it looks different. For some people it's a dismissal, you know. For some people it's a daily toxic work environment that they have to navigate. And when you started rebuilding yourself, how did you sift out the noise? How did you try to maintain focus and center yourself?
Yeah, and I'm happy that you brought up the noise, because it is all just noise.
Sure.
And you need to recognize that it's noise. But most of the time, you sit into in the noise and the mess that you forget that, no, this is not my whole career.
Sure.
This is not my whole life. It's one organization, one boss.
Yeah.
Maybe,
One boss.
that you could leave.
Yeah.
If you do get dismissed, it's just one job that you've lost. You just don't know how many are still lying ahead of you, your career. And especially for professionals, I think it's important to keep reminding yourself that you're building a career, not a job. You're not chasing a role or a title or a job, but be very clear on why you want a career in mining. And for me, that came, I think, 5 years into it, where I really understood why I was doing it. And you start chasing, you start running around. I remember that before then, every next thing looked like a great opportunity for me. Consulting, I'd be like, yes, I want to be a consultant. Technical, I want to do technical. Yes. Until I went back into production. And I always say the production beat me again, and I realized that this is for me. And when I thought about what it was actually, it was the people. And for me, it's always about the people in mining, whether it's women in mining, everyone in mining, and even the contractors and everyone I've worked with. I always see beyond the organization, what brand they're wearing, but who are they? And that's what's really made it even fun for me to go to work, because now it's not just that truck operator. It's Babu Sbanbani, Tate Mamang, whose stories also, inspire you. So for me, that's where it changed my career and my mindset.
Sure. Leaders have got a lot of influence in ensuring their organization has good performers. What fuels good performance, and what should leaders be focusing on to ensure that they nurture and retain good performers who are giving excellent work?
So I'll use an analogy of a farmer. So as a farmer, you take care of the soil.
Absolutely.
You look at your environment and you just ensure that you keep plowing, in good soil. And in mining, it's the people. We as leaders need to make sure our environment is conducive for learning, for growth, for innovation. And as a good leader, when you want to have, excellence and great performance, you must make sure it's an environment where people can be innovative. People are feeling safe, and people feel inspired to bring their whole self. People are creative.
I'm telling you.
Like when you just let people think and let go of this mentality of, I don't pay you to think, I pay you to do, then you will see the greatness that people, and the potential that people can take what you thought is just delivering numbers to a workplace that's thriving in all aspects.
Sure. Let's talk a bit about balance. I mean, I look at your life.
What is that?
Balance. Balance. I said it. Jiki, you are in Paris. This lady is traveling. You're a mother. You're doing well at work. You are within the schools, mentoring, supporting. Look, you do a lot, Mogaleadi, and you do so much. I mean, you are raising money for students in university that are needy. You are serving women in mining, which we will talk about. But talk to us about all these important things that you do, and you do so well.
You saw how I showed up today, right? And I'm not asking you to tell everyone, but there's no balance. I think there's everything I say yes to, I'm saying no to something else. And like today, I've had to say no to other things for me to be here. Every day when I go to work, I'm saying no to maybe a sports practice. I'm saying no to Netflixing and chilling. So for me, it's about being clear on what you say yes to. I make time for things that are important to me. there's a lot of things that I don't do.
Yeah.
And the things that I do, I give my time to. They get my priority.
Yeah.
And the priority changes. So as a mother, there are days where I prioritize being a mother. There are days where I have to go to that play and everything else has to wait. There are days where my work comes first and everything else waits. My kids understand some days they're not going to go swimming because mommy has a report that's due.
Sure.
So it may be daily, it may be seasonal, it may be, and that it might look like it's a balanced life, but it's because at every point in time, you have to just do one thing and do it well.
Sure.
And I've had to just learn this thing with time. I've never felt like everything was going perfectly well in my life. At any point in time, there's something I'm compromising. And my biggest, I think, lesson came when I actually burned out and I had to think or rethink how I spent my time. And the best thing that's ever happened in my learning in life is mindfulness and understanding that until a point where I can listen to my body and I understand how it responds to what I wanted to do and what I want to do and balance out. Right now, my kids are my priority. My work is my priority. My health. I've learned that this body doesn't get healthy by itself and it doesn't get fitter by itself. So I make time for those things. I make time for giving back, and that's very important to me. And giving back, anyone can do it. Sure. We all can give back. The question is, what makes you feel fulfilled when you've done it? It's not for the gram, but it's just doing the things that really make you feel whole. And when I found that for me, it's easy to make time for it. So education for me, upliftment of women for me, it's easy to make time for those because they also integrate very well with my career and the life I want to live.
Sure.
Yeah,
let's talk about the trade-offs. The parts where you said, I can't do everything, which is honestly true, but there's pain in letting go of something that really means a lot to you, but you just genuinely don't have time for. Maybe talk to us about the trade-offs you had to do where you like, I really want to see you, my friends. I really want to strengthen friendships. But to book out fair, I genuinely cannot. And it's not because you're a mean or whatever person. It's a trade-off.
It is.
Talk to me about your trade-offs and the pain and the peace you've got to make with it, even if it's not something you really want.
So when I understood that I could not do everything, which was obviously a big disappointment for a perfectionist like myself, I've had to just start understanding that there's a way in which I need to restructure my life. And one of the things I've had to do is have real conversations. And I've got a very understanding and supportive family. So my mom understands that I'm not going to make it to every funeral and every wedding invitation. But that came from me having clear conversations with them that there's this career that I chose and it chose me back. And I want to focus on it. I've got children that also have to have conversations with to say, you know what, next week is going to be very hectic at work for mommy. So managing their expectations helps me with, as painful as it is, but knowing that, they understand, they accept. I also have to accept that I cannot do it all. And also boundaries, having boundaries for myself, understanding I really cannot do it all, even if I wanted to. So when I do commit to something, I do it well. But if I were to just spread myself thin, it wouldn't work. And unfortunately, the biggest pain came out of me having a real medical burnout. And I've had to just take that lesson and always remember that I can avoid it by making sure my boundaries are clear. I will let you know, yes, I can make it. No, I cannot make it. Can we do it some other time? Please continue without me. And just some of them saying a clear no. It's not for me. I don't do that. And like I said, there's a lot of other things I don't do. And that's where you build time into the things that really, really matter. And the pain of losing, opportunity to spend time with people who matter is a daily struggle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not being able to sit through a movie and you fall asleep. But your people understand that she's trying. She's here. And when you are there, you're not on your phone, you're there. And that's where mindfulness helps me. When I'm with you, I'm here with you. If someone else calls and it's not a convenient time, I can always call them back.
Sure.
I'm not a doctor.
You know what?
So no one is going to die, So it's just reminding myself that every day when I get up to say, today I can only do so many, so many things. And the others, maybe not today.
Sure. Look, you are wholeheartedly into wanting to empower women and serve them however way you have. In your organization, you are chairperson for Women in Mining, currently the vice for Women in Mining South Africa. And of course, since stepping into, being the chairperson of Women in Mining in South Africa. But what is your burning message, even as you want to serve women, that you want to get across? And perhaps not just to women, but to the industry. What is that thing in Mogaleadi's heart that I want you to get this?
Yeah. And I want to, give a bit of a background on why this came for me. So like I said, I'm the firstborn daughter, and naturally you are closer to your mother.
You are the mom.
Yeah, deputy. Yes, I'm a deputy mother just by default. And then I went to a girls only school in my high school years. So being surrounded by women was a natural part of my life.
Sure.
And I never knew that women were or had capabilities up until I started working in the mines, where you are told that you're a woman and you're like, oh I didn't know. I didn't know it mattered. Because all my life I could do whatever I wanted to do. So when that happened, when you are told, no, you can't do that. Or no, you're not a woman. You're not supposed to be thinking like that. I then realized that, and it wasn't immediate. I think over time, you realize that you have to not just do what they say you can't do, but you have to say certain things to respond to that narrative that holds women back. And that's where the work that I did, I think, was born, to really start actively participating in addressing some of the issues that impede progress of women. So for me, the burning desire is for every woman to not feel like there's anything they cannot do because of being born female. It's not an incapability or incapacity. It's actually a strength. I always feel so lucky that I was born into a female body. And I'm just every day amazed by the power of women. I've seen so many powerful women. I'm surrounded by powerful women in my life. And I take strength, from them. And I spend a lot of time with my grandmother when I'm off work. And I just am so encouraged by her strength. Without education, without much, but she's got so much wisdom. My mother, she's a powerhouse in our family. And when I go out into the world, I by no measure feel inadequate. So I come from that place where I'm validated as a person. So when I show up, you have to tell me that there's stuff I cannot do. I don't show up with, feeling sorry for myself that, there's nobody else like me.
Who can help me?
Yeah. So for every woman, I always say, do it for yourself. Don't, the noise that we spoke about earlier, that you are a woman, don't let that stop you from doing what you want. The industry is open, and I understand there's still barriers, but just don't sit in a box because you're a woman.
Look, there's quite a lot of work that women did for us to be where we are. They broke so many things. And we are here as leaders in the industry. What is it that, we are clear what they did for us to be here. What is it that women in different operations need to be setting just to set up this scene for the generation that's coming?
And that's a very difficult one, because we don't need to march like the 1956. And it's a difficult thing to do, but it's usually the easier solution when you can show your anger and your frustration and the energy in that physical demonstration.
Sure.
But the women of, especially women in mining of 2025 and beyond, and reimagining what the industry should look like for future women is more, mental mindset shift. We need to just understand that the barrier is not going to be in PPE. PPE is going to be resolved, but the barrier is going to be in making sure it's an equal industry. And how do we do that? Technology is a big lever for us. I mean, the excitement I got when we commissioned the first autonomous drill is unmatched, because now women don't have to sit back for 9 months because they are pregnant. You can continue operating your drill.
Beautiful.
And I think every woman should be championing technology advancement and transformation, because that's leveling the play fields for us. You don't need to be able to pick up a 90 kg to be able to deliver. You just need to think, be innovative. How do I make it easier? And my excitement, I'm really excited about the future of women in mining. It's really around that, where all the barriers are broken. And what's left is more mental. And I think our biggest job is really shifting in how we think, how we accept and receive ourselves and other fellow women. And also being a sister. I believe a lot in sisterhood, and saying to a fellow sister, no, you can't show up at work like this. It's not working for you. And what we do when we do that, it's not just helping Mahlohonolo, but everyone else who comes after Mahlohonolo and Mogaleadi, because we are a symbol of representation. The expectation is the way we show up is how other people who are like us show up as well.
Look, talking about that, touch a bit on personal branding. I mean, sometimes you just show up anyhow, on a good day, on a bad day, but you are sending a message about who you are and how you should be treated, whether you like it or not. How important is it to be mindful of how you show up as a matter of building a brand?
I think it starts with just understanding who you are. And what is the gap between that person and the person you want to be seen as? And the person you want to become. And for me, it's really being authentic in who you are, your experiences. We are all a product of the experiences we have. Be it right, be it pleasant or not. Accept that what has happened in your life has happened, because most of us are living in the present of our past mistakes. So understand that you did the best you could with what you knew. Now you know better. And in terms of personal branding, when you show up as who you truly are, people have a choice to take you as who you are or not. But if you try to be someone else that you are not, you've got much more work to do to just become who you are. I mean, I was actually thinking about how Simon Sinek, who's one of my biggest leadership inspirational experts, talks about starting with why. And your brand needs to be linked to why you are in the space you are in, why you do what you do. And he usually uses Apple as a brand that really lives up to, the phenomenon of starting with why and how that builds on to becoming a successful brand. And as an individual, it's really important to understand what is it that you can do. Who needs it, and do it well. Do it for those people. You are not going to be everything to everyone. So when you show up as your true self, your tribe will see you, and you will be able to then operate in your strength, because they know you, and you are not trying to be something else. So your brand, if they know we have a women empowerment seminar, and you showed up as that, they know you are the go-to person, and your name will be synonymous to what you stand for every day. If it is authentic, it will show.
Sure.
And it will be easy for you to then be recognized as that in your brand, as opposed to trying to be something else. And, as I'm listening to Simon, I always think about, in terms of other brands, Zambak.
Yeah, hey.
Right? You grew up, Zambak is in a small tin.
Yeah.
It's green.
It's still there.
It's still, and it does what it does.
Yeah.
Is it a scratch? Is it a burnt wound? Is it dry lips? It works.
Zambak.
They haven't tried to become anything else. And it's Makoya. And it's the real Makoya.
Yeah, sure.
Even with us, you start out to say, this is what I want to do. And over time, you get better at doing it. And you become like a real Makoya in it. And if it's truly linked to who you are and your God-given, strengths and talents, it just becomes so much easier with life.
Look, you've already touched on, the future of mining, and I can promise you got us excited where you spoke about the fact that women don't have to leave work because they are expecting. Just again on the future, do you see the industry that is so balanced that we no longer have women in mining forums? We know it's so normal because we don't have men in mining type of thing. Will we get there?
There are organizations that have men in mining. I'm not going to name anyone.
Sure.
But I don't, and I hope we never get to a point where we think it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Because our needs will remain unique. There's never going to be a point where I can sit with a brother and talk about very intimate issues that affect me as a woman.
Yeah.
I would like to still have the forums, perhaps working in different aspects or working on different factors that affect women, and maybe more focusing more on things that make us thrive. I don't wish for a time where you don't have that forum where they get you. But in terms of transformation, I do pray and hope for an industry where those forums are not fighting for basic things. They're not fighting for just fair pay, right size PPE, infrastructure that's accommodating. So I think it's really, it depends on the future generation and how they want to be organized. But for me, those forums will remain relevant.
Sure.
Because we want to have a space where women know that they can bring their whole selves. The challenge is the industry wasn't designed with us in mind. So even though we can now change the face of what it looks like going forward, it's important to still have sisterhood. Because that's where you will be able to say, I'm battling with this. How do you do it? As a woman, that will remain relevant for me. And I think every woman deserves to know, you've got a sister that you can call up when you want to vent. And it's not for a place where you feel, your basic needs are not being met and you have to go for help. So I don't see us getting there. And I hope we don't get there. I would like us to remain connected, and not just as a network, but true connections. Where if I've got a thing coming over a weekend and I want other sisters to join me, you have people to call up.
Look, Mogaleadi, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and thank you so much for the work that you do for the industry, for the young people in South Africa, for your heart in serving people. It's so inspirational. You might be doing it for yourself, but it says to somebody sitting at home, there's so much work to do in the country, and we see you doing it and doing it so well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mahlavanola. I'm excited about the future, and thank you for this platform as well, because nobody can be able to reach out to everyone at once, and I think there's an opportunity to really spread the work that all the great professionals and everyone who's sat in this chair does. Your podcast is really inspirational, and we really hope that it keeps growing from strength to strength. And
thank you.
All the best to you and the team as well.
Sure. Excellence is not achieved overnight. It requires commitment, leadership, and your dedication to growth and high standards. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye and God bless.